Folks, hello and welcome back to the Naren Agarwal Show, where we bring family business entrepreneurs to share their insight, knowledge, strategies so that we all can get better at business. And today I have a very special guest. This guest is full of color in his personality, and he is the owner, founder of JK Protomax, which is an Indian paints manufacturing and supplying company in Eastern India. Welcoming Mr. Manish Goyal to the show. Manish bhaiya, kya khabar?
Thank you so much, Naren. Thank you for having me here.
It's amazing to have you.
It's a pleasure for me to come and converse with you.
Manish bhaiya, so talking about the paint industry and talking about your business, we were recently having a conversation. Right now in your business, you're doing a turnover of 80 crores a year and you're aspiring to 100 and 120 crores in just 1 year. We were talking about how the paint industry in India is growing and booming. So I want to talk to you about that. You said the paint industry is really booming, and what is the reason for that, and what is the projection for the paint industry in India booming?
See, I'll tell you one thing, Naren. It is a very interesting time right now to be in the paint industry. The reason for that is that the paint industry is growing at a very fast scale. It is growing at double digits. But the flip side of this is so many new entrants are coming in the paint industry. So it is for a smaller players like us, it is challenging also, and it is full of opportunities also. Now, to be relevant in the paint industry, we need to think something new, we need to be innovative, and then the sky is the limit.
Right. So, with every percentage in GDP growth, how much is the paint industry growing? You said a very interesting figure.
This is a big thing, this is a good thing about the paint industry. If the GDP is growing by X, the paint industry will grow, normally it grows at 2X. So, right now, we are seeing that the GDP is growing at a healthy 6 to 7% or maybe even more than that. Then we can safely assume that the paint industry growth will be 12 to 15% per annum in the coming years.
So funny thing you mentioned about entrants in the paint industry. We have the paint giants already, right? Asian Paints and Berger and Nerolac in India. And then recently I've been seeing all these big TMT manufacturing and cement manufacturing companies. For example, you said Ultratech. I was noticing JSW, I think. Everybody is entering into the paint industry, like Fevicol, Pidilite.
Yes.
They are entering into the paint industry. Why so, and how will you handle all this competition that's coming as a family business owner of a smaller size paint manufacturing?
See, again, the same thing, right? Like in all the businesses, it is survival for the fittest. As simple as that. So, if you are able to innovate, if you are able to think something new, then you can grow. Yes, I agree that the business is challenging. Especially for the smaller players, the business is going to be very challenging. In fact, I'll tell you one thing. One simple statistics I'll provide to you. Like we are the biggest wall putty manufacturers in Eastern India.
Okay.
Just before COVID, there were at least 40 to 50 wall putty manufacturers in Kolkata. Right now, roughly only 5 are left. And we are right now the biggest, the other two being Asian Paints and Berger Paints.
Wow, so you are bigger in wall putty manufacturing than Asian Paints?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And because of COVID, about 35 companies are wiped off.
Yes. So now the interesting thing for us is the competition from the small scale players is getting wiped off. But the bigger challenge is that the bigger players are becoming very aggressive. Just to give you a small statistics, Berger is number 2 in the paint industry at present.
Correct.
Ultratech is coming in this industry. It is slated to start operations from next year, March 2024. And the initial capacity in which they will enter will be bigger than Berger. So just think about the capacity expansion that is going to happen in the paint industry in the next 2 years. And Ultratech is just one player. Then you have
this is the first entry in the paint industry, and they are launching bigger than Berger in terms of production capacity.
And they have got a capex of 20,000 CR for the paint industry.
20,000 CR?
20,000 crore rupees they are going to invest in the paint industry in the next 1 to 2 years.
Wow.
So, and this is just one player. Then you have got Pidilite, you have got GSW, and there are n number of other players who are entering in the market. So
my question back to you, already you've been competing with the giants like Asian Paints, that sells at a P ratio of much more than a standard in the stock market for those who are stock market enthusiasts. And then there's Berger. How do you compete with them already? Like, how can you create that space as a family business entrepreneur and fight with them in the market?
See, right now, be it paints or be it any other business segment, the most important thing for you is to have access to cheap capital. Now, if I am taking money from the bank, it has got its own limitation. It is limited. The cost of capital is very high for us. Now, to be relevant in the paint industry, after all these biggies come into the sway, is to have access to cheap capital and to have access to the capital market. Now, and so it is very important for us to maintain a very high speed of growth and maybe tap the capital market in the coming few years. That is very important for us.
Here's delving a little deeper into this. What are some strategies that you are using to compete with them and create that competitive advantage in the local markets? Let's say if somebody is going to buy paint, why will they buy your paint compared to Asian Paints, even though Asian Paints invests much more in branding? So you must be applying some strategies to do the business that you're doing.
Yes. That is a question which I face almost every day in my life. That why will a person buy from JK Protomax when he has got the likes of Asian Berger, when their brand ambassadors are all the big players of the film industry, the Amitabh Bachchans of the world, the Shah Rukh Khan of the world, then why will a person buy from JK Protomax? The main thing is we have recently coined a term which is कि अगर आपको नाम चाहिए तो आपके पास ऑप्शन अनेक, क्वालिटी का ऑप्शन सिर्फ एक, JK Protomax. So why the bigger players are focusing more on branding, we have taken a very contrarian approach that we will focus more on the quality aspect, and the people, we are trying to create a niche for us that only people who will understand quality in the true sense, they will buy from us. If you just want name, then they have got many options. That is number one. And number two is कि reaching the customer is very difficult for us because the end customer has got tremendous exposure to other paint companies. But the painters are the big influencers in the paint industry. Just to give you an example, if you want to buy a shirt, you will just go to a showroom, choose 10 different shirts, and from that you will select a shirt which you want to buy. But if you want to buy paint, then you normally don't go to the shop and buy paint directly. You approach a painter normally, a painter who is known to you, and then you ask the painter which brand I should buy.
Correct.
At that time, if the painter tells you that, sir, JK Protomax is better than Asian and Berger in terms of quality, then chances are that you are going to buy JK Protomax.
Very true.
And if in this way you are able to convert 20% of your customers from Asian and biggies to JK Protomax, that is big enough a market for me. So I'm focusing on those. I'm trying to create my own brand of influencers, and they are converting the sales from other companies to us.
See, that's very interesting because for the viewers, I just want to create a picture of how this works. Like he's manufacturing paint in his manufacturing hub, right? And then that paint goes into, let's say, a distributor's place or a depot where he stores it, and then it goes to the dealers, and the dealers then sell it to the end consumer who wants to come and buy. So there's a multiple channel, and then at the side of this channel is an influencer, that is a painter who influences the decision making of the end buyer. So sometimes rather than the dealer, the painter influences the end buyer's decision.
Yes.
Which is very interesting. It reminds me of Fevicol, right? I remember the story of this carpenter came and somebody said, why don't you get that cheaper glue? Then the carpenter said, sir, I will get the cheaper glue, but if your furniture goes off, then don't blame me because I'll be gone. And so the owner thinks I'm investing so much in the furniture. Well, whatever the carpenter says, let's use that. So we'll stick to Fevicol. So I guess they do make a very influential
I will just give you a very interesting anecdote about that. Recently, I had a work of some tile affixing. I was changing the tiles at my house. We manufacture tile adhesive, which is used for fixing the tiles, and we are supplying maybe a few thousand tons per month to various bigger companies and to our direct market also. An applicator came to our house and he told my wife, मैम JK Protomax का मेरे को पता नहीं है, लेकिन आपको ये वाला फलाना कंपनी का माल लगाना चाहिए. And I am very honest with you, he made my wife buy the competing brand and she did not use my own product. So that was the day I understood the power of the influencers, namely the applicators and the painters.
इसको बोलते हैं दिया तले अंधेरा, वैसा ही होता है, हम सबके साथ होता है. Our traditional family business is manufacturing oil, and sometimes when let's say somebody at home buys another coconut oil or something, and we think, why have they bought?
You cannot make them understand.
Correct. That's the power of branding.
That is the power of branding. And that is the power of influencers in our particular trade.
So it's very interesting what you say. See, there's a digital social media world going on, and where everybody's talking about influencer marketing, and that's the digital influencers. But what you have been able to identify and work on are physical influencers, like people who don't necessarily get to use the end product, but they influence the decision making.
Yes, yes.
And that's very interesting and important.
And another interesting fact I will tell you is that it is not totally offline and physical thing. Now, it was always a challenge for us. How do we reach the painters?
Yeah.
I know that we need to reach the painters in order to sell our product. But how do we reach the painters? Now, with the help of AI, with the help of technology, with the help of systems, we have created a system. We have our in-house apps through which we are able to track each and every product, each and every container of paint which leaves our factory. We are able to track who is using it, which painter is using it, and we are getting all the data. Now we have got dedicated data scientists in our company who are tracking that data, who are able to track that data, and after tracking that data, another work is to reach those painters. We have recently set up a dedicated department in our company, about 6 people in the CRM team, who will be tracking those painters on a regular basis. They will be talking to them, telling them about the products, engaging them in the loyalty programs,
Wow.
so that this segment of the painters is really addressed, and they can move the company in the coming years.
Wow. And see, something like this is very tough to replace. Like a new company cannot come in and replace this.
Yes.
They can maybe get cheaper products at, better rates and more branding. But what you're creating for yourself is a real moat. This connection and this relationship with painters who are influential in decision making for the end users.
That is true.
Amazing, Manish Bhaiya. So to shift gears a little bit, you started this company in 2004, which is about 20 years ago. What made you start this company? Back in the day, you thought about getting into the paint manufacturing business. Did you think you're about to build a 100 crore business this year and it would become so huge? What was that thought process when you began? Because you were the one who founded this company.
To be very honest, this was not my first business. After I did my MBA from Symbiosis Pune, which was at that time the 6th best MBA institute at that time, I ventured into the food business. I started selling of mushrooms. I did it for about 2 years. That business tanked.
Wow.
अब उसके बाद में कुछ करना था. So paint was the next option which came to my mind, and I started this business.
Wow.
And yes, things have been fairly good, and we are developing at a fast pace. And this year our target is to cross 100 crore and maybe reach 120 crore if everything is okay.
What's something that you learned from the failure in the mushroom business that came very useful in the success of this business?
In my mushroom business, the basic thing which I lacked was accounts and backend. If I don't have a good accounts team, if I don't have the grab of what is happening at the backend, I will not be able to. I was just focusing on the front end. I was focusing on selling mushrooms per se, but I was not focusing on backend. So that is very important. Backend team has to be strong, on which the front end is going to work. And that was my lesson number 1, I would say.
Wow. What other factors do you think personally you inculcated as a habit or a lifestyle that helped you succeed in this business and bring it to the scale that you have right now over the years?
See, being a family business, being a small business, you have to be much more innovative, you have to be much more dynamic and flexible compared to the bigger businesses. Like I tell my sales team a lot that if it is the bigger brands, I will name the brands. If it is Asian Paint or maybe Berger, then even if they are selling dust in their bags, even if they are selling water, it will sell, and the painter is going to say that the consumer is going to say the product is good. But for a product of JK Protomax, which nobody knows the name, for us to sell, the quality has to be way better than the biggies. We are focusing on the quality, and that is one thing. Never compromise on the quality. We get a lot of price pressure. People tell us that we have to sell at cheaper price compared to the bigger players. We don't do that. Our focus is that we will focus more on the quality compared to even the bigger players, and that is the differentiating factor between us and other smaller players. And that has now we are already at we are now not at a local level. We are at a regional level now and aspiring to be a national level in the coming 2-3 years. maybe.
Amazing. So right now you have 3 manufacturing facilities, right? One in
Yes.
Calcutta and the other 2 in?
One in Guwahati and one in Ghaziabad in the NCR region.
Wow. So you're covering north and east in that way. And you have
Yes.
multiple other depots like in Siliguri and...
We have got depots in Siliguri, we have got depot in Odisha and Bihar.
Wow.
So we have 3 depots and 3 manufacturing units.
So now, I was having a conversation with you earlier and you said you're coming up with a very interesting concept of manufacturing franchising.
Yes.
So what is this? How does this work? And what's the idea behind it?
See, I'll tell you one thing. As I told you that the paint industry is becoming very competitive. The smaller players in the industry are getting wiped off. So for most of the smaller players, they have only one option to close down. Now I am going to them with a proposal that was for you, and normally in manufacturing, in our business, manufacturing is 20% of the efforts. Marketing the paint is 80% of the product, is the effort.
True.
Marketing, getting the mix right, getting the communication right, the branding part, the packaging part, that is 80% of the effort. So we are approaching paint manufacturers pan India, that you focus on manufacturing, you focus on the operations, the marketing part, the branding part, we will guide you how to do it. And in that way, and we will be taking a royalty from you on that. And you have to market the product in the brand name of JK Protomax. We have already done it in a few places. Ghaziabad we have done. We are starting very soon in Cuttack and Raipur. And this model is picking up like anything. Means, in fact, we have got people lined up, pan India manufacturers lined up from all over India, that they want to get associated with us. And
Wow.
paint is a very big field. Okay, we cannot manufacture everything in paints. So, like we have done a joint venture with a manufacturer in Dehradun. He is doing water paper for us, which is used to smoothen the walls. So we have taken over that factory, and he is supplying to us in our brand name. We have tied up with a manufacturer in Mumbai for machine color end. That is again one part of paints.
So I have a question. What would be the difference between this model that you're suggesting and something called an OEM model where you're white labeling through someone? How is this different and why are you calling this manufacturing franchising?
Because in this, the marketing part also will be done by the manufacturer. We will have a person at the top who will be advising and supervising their marketing team, but the marketing part, the groundwork will be done by him, even in the marketing part. In OEM, the total manufacturing and the total marketing happens by the toller company.
I see. This is very interesting. Okay, so in a way, you're giving them SOPs for marketing also, or
Yes.
and you're charging a royalty for them for using your brand, and also
Yes.
giving them SOPs of how to market
Yes.
and maybe manufacture.
And the benefit for JK Protomax is that in this way, our target is to have 20 manufacturers pan India in the next 2 to 3 years. Now, for a company like us to have 20 manufacturing units in 3 years is unthinkable. And by this franchisee manufacturing concept, if everything goes out according to our plan, we can be a national player in the next 3 years.
Wow, this
That
is
is
an
number one.
amazing idea.
That is number one. And in paints, like there are 50 different kind of paints which are being produced. Now, a small manufacturer, they may be manufacturing some of the products, but it is very difficult for them to manufacture all the different types of paints which are available in the market. Now, what happens is, some of the products he's manufacturing, some of the products he will get from us in the same brand. So when he's approaching the market, he has got the whole bouquet of product, which even many bigger players who are entering the market now, they don't have. So we will be in a very strong position when we're approaching the market.
One challenge that I want to discuss here is, let's say someone is using your brand name and they're manufacturing as well and controlling the sales channel. How will you ensure that they don't mess up the quality and the brand image in that area?
Yes, that is the only challenge that we have. And I think we have almost perfected the SOPs, the
Wow.
training part and everything in that direction. We have got all the testing processes, and nowadays with the all the online thing and everything, AI and other things, controlling those things has become much
Easier.
easier than before. Now I know exactly, I've got a few franchisee units. I know exactly how much manufacturing they are doing, their batch numbers, how much they are sending on a daily basis, and our back office team in Kolkata is very strong. And through that, we are able to keep a track of those
Wow.
things.
Amazing, Manish Bhaiya. One more question about the paint industry, and then I want to switch gears into something else and discuss about a few other things that you're involved in. So the final question I have for you is, I saw a very interesting innovation that happened in the paint industry. Earlier on, if you wanted a red, green, yellow, you had different tubs. One had red, one had green, one had yellow, and this was a lot of heavy weight and a lot of carrying, and stores had to be big because they had to carry all these different colors. But I don't know if you guys have been to a paint store recently. There's a new machine and they carry some base colors. So can you tell us a little bit about that innovation and how that impacted the whole industry?
The machine that you are talking about is called tinting machine.
Okay.
So tinting machine, the basic concept is that you get white color from the company, and then there are different stainers or colorant available in that machine, and you just and there is a shade card, or there's a choice of maybe 5,000 shades from which you can choose. So the limit for the consumer is humongous. That is number one. And whichever shade the customer chooses, the dealer, what he does is he just enters the name of the shade and the quantity and other things in the computer, and a pigment will come, the colorant will come from the machine, and it will get mixed in the base.
Wow.
So within a span of 2-3 minutes, he gets the desired shade. This is the benefit for the customer, and for the dealer, the benefit is the number of stock that he has to keep is reduced a bit.
So
Quite a bit.
literally you have to manufacture, essentially assuming one base paint of white, and you have this machine and you can create 5,000 colors from it.
Yes. Now, because of this, this has created a very big entrance barrier for the smaller players. Like this machine, it requires a whole ecosystem. There is quite a lot of technology involved in this, and because of that, only the bigger players in the paint industry, they have this machine and this ecosystem. We are the only player in Eastern India who has got this tinting machine system.
Wow.
And there are maybe 10-15 players pan India who has got this tinting machine.
Wow. And that's how you're able to keep up with the technology.
Yes,
I see you mentioned AI technology, and it's really essential to keep up with it in our family businesses so that we can compete and be
I
relevant.
believe in today's world, whatever business you are doing comes second. The first is technology. How technology can be an enabler in your business. And that is going to be the differentiating factor.
Everybody is in the technology business.
Everybody is first in the technology business and second in the business what they are doing. And if you are able to leverage technology, then you can create wonders in whatever field you are in.
Wow, amazing. Manish Bhaiya, like I said, now switching gears, you're involved with the NGO, and I heard it's one of the fastest growing NGOs in the Calcutta region in India. Tell us a little bit about NGO and what made you get into this totally different from your line of trade.
Now, see, the name of this NGO is Gyan Deepak. I am the founder member of this NGO. To understand the working of this NGO, you will have to understand the education policy of India. In India, the government has said that education is free for all, and there are a number of government schools in which the children go. But in these schools, as you must be aware, the teachers hardly come, and the education per se is tough. Passing class 9 and 10 is tough. So when the teachers are not coming, the students are just going there, the young children are just going there, and they start getting flunked once they cross class 5. And they become disillusioned, they have lost all their self-confidence, and these people go on to become miscreants and antisocials in their later life. What we are targeting those children, we are giving them holistic education, we are teaching them family values, and those students who earlier used to flunk in their classes, almost all the 200 students who are in our NGO, they are toppers in their own class.
Wow.
And this is how we are creating value for the society. That is number one. Number two is this. I am one of the trustee members, but the main running person who's running this is my younger sister. She is a housewife. She started this by teaching domestic help children of our house, and soon they have got more than 50 volunteers. All are housewives. They are coming and teaching these children. And the interesting thing is we have been able to develop special books for these children, and now we are guiding and we are guardianing other NGOs also. Anybody who wants to start this kind of thing, suppose there's a lady who wants to start this in maybe South Kolkata or North Kolkata. So she can take the guidance of our NGO and she can start a center there. We already have 4 centers, 2 in Bihar, 1 in North Kolkata and 1 in South Kolkata in Galiat.
Wow, what a beautiful initiative. Why is CSR, community, social responsibility important for you?
I will take another example, another program that we are running in this NGO. The name of this program is Samta. In this, what we are doing is we are telling people of educated people, students of convent schools, to become a guardian for a person who's from underprivileged background, and they have to stay in touch for 1 year. They have to guardian the other student for 1 year. After that, what is happening? Our original design for starting this program was to educate the underprivileged child. But after a few years, we noticed that there's a all encompassing change which is happening in all family children who are teaching those children. Right now, what is happening is that we have got a wait list of children who want to become guardians and angel guardians for these children. So when you are doing something good, you feel so good, your confidence increases, you become empathetic, you understand their difficulties, and that is why all this NGO and CSR activities. Forget about what is mandatory, we should do it, forget about that. You feel so good after doing something of this kind that it is all rewarding for you.
Wow, Manish, amazing to hear. It seems like, you really took this expertise that you have of running a business, having a strong back end, making SOPs, and you brought that to an NGO and added value to that and helped that grow as well. And that shows the power of how, entrepreneurs can add value to society. Manish, you're the Assistant Vice President of a council or a manufacturing association. So tell us a little bit more about that and what does this association do?
See, the name of this association is I.S.P.A, Indian Small Scale Paint Manufacturing Association. This is the oldest and the biggest association of its kind in the world. And I happen to be Assistant Vice President of that association. And I'm very proud to say that I am the first person from Eastern India to be occupying such a senior post in a pan-India kind of association which has got headquarters in Mumbai. And I'm also the youngest till now.
Wow.
But yes, this being part of such associations gives you a very good network. Just to give you a small example, Pan India, any town, any village, any city you talk about, I know paint manufacturers there, and any paint manufacturer Pan India, the chances are they will know me personally. So that is a kind of network that you are able to build. In fact, my business also is piggy banking on the network which I have built through my association with I.S.P.A.
Correct, because now it's easier for you to reach paint manufacturers and talk about the paint manufacturing franchise that you have. I think lately I've been realizing the power of having networks and being part of networks in business, especially family businesses, because access has a lot of value nowadays. It's not about what you know, it's also about who you know. And so, why do you think people, even though they can be perceived as competitors, right? Everybody is paint manufacturing and I'm a competitor, but why do they come together? What value do the members get out of being in this association?
See, right now, especially for the smaller players, the buzzword is co-optation. You have to cooperate when you're inside your office, and you do your competition when you're outside the office or when you are in the market. Like the backbone of my company on which I'm piggy banking is association with other paint manufacturers. It's a very vast field. It requires lots of capital, which I don't have. So maybe I'm joining hands with other players in the market. We are sharing our revenues, and that is the way we can grow. Just to give you a small example, an elephant is a very big animal. No human can move it. But if 50 humans join hands, they can pull an elephant. So my target is to have an association of 20, 30, 40 paint manufacturers, and then we can take on all the biggies of India and the world.
Wow, amazing. Manish, I am very interested in lifestyle of entrepreneurs, how they live, because I think how your lifestyle is really impacts on how your brain is and how you function in the business and the success of your business. So I want to ask you some quick rapid fire questions about your lifestyle just to get and discover how you live. And I'm doing this for the first time.
I'm getting scared.
I'm doing this for the first time, so
Okay.
let's see how it goes. You have to be quick, okay?
Sure.
Morning or night?
Morning.
You're a morning person.
Definitely morning.
Awesome. Tea or coffee?
No to both of them.
No
I
to
hardly
both.
take any beverage, but yes, I would prefer tea.
Okay, great. Prayer or work?
For me, work is prayer. Work is worship.
Amazing. Okay. Favorite color? Blue or red?
Blue.
Blue. Bootstrapped or funded?
Bootstrap.
Bootstrap.
Because if you're funded, that makes you lazy. And I think it is better to be funded and be always short of capital in business.
Wow. Amazing, Manish Bhaiya. This really reminds me of another conversation we had. I think a lot of family business owners, when I speak to them, there's a certain thought process that they have. They want to be bootstrapped. They want to focus on profits, not valuation first. And they also say, even if I have a lot of funding, I want to create an environment where, you feel you're with less resources so that it doesn't make you complacent.
No, but the other thing in this chapter is sometimes funding is also important, because suppose I am growing at 1.4x every year, and if I get funding and I am able to grow at 2x or 3x, then that funding adds value. Okay. But with funding, discipline is very much necessary so that you don't become lazy and you don't invest that money in your own personal being. You have to think of that funding is for your business, not for you. That is the most important thing.
Amazing. Manish Bhaiya, final question for our podcast to wrap it up. It's been amazing so far, and you're such a straight shooter. You answer so quickly. You're such a prompt thinker.
Thank you for that.
Any questions for me that you have?
Any question for you? This is difficult, and I am flowed in this. But yes, I like your idea of podcast. I like the work that you are doing. You are educating others, and I would like to ask you also that you have got your family business. And after that, why did you venture into coaching? Because coaching again is becoming a big daddy business with so much of huge investment. So what is the value that you can add in coaching being a Naren Agarwal?
Wow, amazing to hear this from you. So Bhaiya, I think the biggest thing is I went into my family business. I saw that I needed help from others to really perfect it. I had struggles. And I wanted to solve those struggles, but I did not know the way. And there I went and learned from so many people who helped me in different aspects of my business. And I got immense value from it. And when you gain value from something, you feel like sharing, right? When you really, like if you read an amazing book, you want to go to your friend and be like, hey, you know what? I know the way to help you solve your weight problem. Read this book and it's going to be amazing. So I think it's a similar feeling within me that, I went through so many struggles when I came back from the US, joined my family business, getting that whole cultural shift and seeing a business, how it was run 30 years traditionally and how to change it. And I thought I could add value to the world, and something I really enjoy. So, wo bolte hain na ikigai, what you're good at, what the world needs, many things come together, and I guess it's just become a path of discovery that came to me.
Okay, interesting and great to hear this.
Thank you so much, Manish Bhaiya.
Thank you.
Pleasure
so
to
much.
have you on the show. And
The
thank you
pleasure
for
was
being
all
so
mine.
candid.
Thank you so much.
Folks, I hope you got a great insight into the paint industry of India from a family business's perspective, but also about family business and how family business owners think. I hope you found something that you can take back. Now, if you think this was insightful and if you had one learning, share it with one more person so that they can benefit in their business. Sharing is caring. So knowledge बांटो और share करो.